Okay guys, so it's the first day of the build. I've got heaps of driftwood and bark and mushrooms and coconuts and almond pods and everything that I'm going to be putting into the tank, but I don't know how much will fit in there and really what position I'm going to put it in, so I'm going to be going back and forth trying to figure that out, and once I know I will show you how to put it all in with the foam. So here's the plan so far. I cut the big bark piece in half, so we have a hiding space and a planter here and another planter here. I've also got a bit of wood here. I'm probably going to do some mushroom platforms down here. Not quite sure why that's there, the almond pod. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on. I might add some things once I add in the foam. So this was going to be a time lapse, but unfortunately my head kept getting in the way, the camera kept cutting out, the straw kept shooting off the end of the can, and things didn't go according to plan, so it was a bit everywhere. So basically I wanted to make a hide in the corner, put a coconut behind the cork, attach that to the cork with the foam, and then attach that in the corner. That did not go to plan. I ended up using the entire first can on that corner, which was really annoying. So I used the second can. Once again the straw just kept shooting off, but I eventually just gave up on that. I even tried a normal drinking straw and that worked for a little bit and then it shut off. So I just ended up using it without the straw and that seemed to do it very well. One thing I will say is have lots of things around you that you can use to weigh things down, keep things in place, and also use tape if you're using branches and that, just to hold them up. I use black electrical tape and that's very strong, and that held up a few branches for me. What I'm going to do now is just cut along the tops, obviously in places where it's just overflowing. I'm going to use a sharp knife and cut all along. This will also help me see whether this is dried all the way through, so whether or not I can put on the sealant. Okay, good news, that was actually kind of tough to remove, which is excellent because obviously you don't want this just dropping off. So here's one of the biggest chunks of foam, and it seems to be gone like rock hard all the way through. So here's a different angle of the build if you're interested. I have noticed like down here there's just a gap straight in there where there's no foam, but it doesn't really bother me because, you know, it looks more natural and you never know, you could put something in there. This is one of the mushrooms. Like as I was saying here, I'd probably put black sealant and eco-earth. It doesn't matter, it just adds more texture. Now the other thing I need to do is remove some of these little bits. You see the foam's just got on pieces of wood. I'm going to remove them and I want to make a planter. This was going to be a planter here, so I'm going to have to try to cut all of that out. Okay, so I've tipped the tank up. Just have a look at this planter area. So this was going to be for my vanilla orchid. It's a little bit high up. I think I was kind of panicking when it all went and put it all down because it's actually surprisingly difficult to do the whole foam situation. And anyway, this was going to be a hide and this was going to be a planter. So I was going to put a coconut behind this bit to be the hide. It didn't work out well. But then I saw that this actually goes all the way down to the bottom. So obviously if I put my hands in, it's not really a hide, it's just one big planter. So either I'm going to cut here and we're going to have a planter out the top and out of here, or I'm going to somehow magic up a hide and a planter, but that might take quite a bit of skill. Okay, so we have two planters here, one planter here. I wish I'd made more planters up here. I don't really know what happened to the almond pod. I think I wanted it to face down a little bit, but one thing I will say is the foam, you really have to make sure that you have something to hold the things in place because it will just sink into the foam, which I think is what happened here. So it will just be a platform now. But yeah, I do wish I did more planters up here, but you know, if I had more foam I probably would do something like that, but for now I think it's okay. This is more of a climbing area. These bits are held up by tape. I think they're securely in place now, so I can take that off. But the next step will be to use sealant and add eco-earth to the background.